So these things here, these are 3 separate kills, 1 per boss. These are more of the strategies that I use to try to set personal records. Ambassador is slightly different at the end. There's a bunch of things that vary a lot there, but if you want to be trying to nail some decent solo times, these are some of the ways to do it. So as you can see here, I'm doing the Natural Instinct Dragon Battle Axe thing. Some people turn that around and do DBA Nat. I prefer it this way because I want the boost to last longer. Circ Barge. 1 basic, then bleed your assault. Vuln Bomb and step to the side. Click the ground once below you and then do destroy so you stay planted. Otherwise you're going to be walking out in front of him and you get wrecked by the breath. Do your flurry. Let it play out 3 hits. Couple more basics. Throw a lunge in there if you want to. Then go into your CGS. You're going to want to be tempted to use a lot more of your threshold abilities when you're in the CGS. You don't want to be wasting too much time doing this. This is just some extra damage before you get into the rest of the Berserk rotation, which is coming now. The thing that's different from casual runs is that I'm doing double circs now, so I need to have done 2 flurries, otherwise the circ's not going to be ready. Step off during the sweeps. Circ, barge him again. This time use your limitless. I'm bleeding my flurry here, you could have bled your destroy as well, it doesn't really matter. And then go into your second threshold and carry on doing basics. That way you can kill the Leviathan before he switches sides. So now I'm going to Terraket. This was the one that, apart from probably one mistake that caused me to sign, went the best, because this ended up being a personal record for me as well. My previous one was 210. The reason I'm doing it a little bit quicker now is because I'm tanking way more damage, and I'm also using food that doesn't in any way obstruct my adrenaline or my stats. My previous record, I think I did it with Super Bruce, I'm not sure. So I'm dropping my dummy, waiting for my adren pot to cool off. As you can see here, I have a mammoth. The first third of the mammoth is just restocking the blue blubberfish and Gothic's rest flasks. Those are the ones that I'm going to be combo healing with continuously, and then I have the mammoth spec scrolls to be able to eat the sailfish soups without losing adrenaline. For the last bit of this fight, that's going to be really useful. So I'm doing my Natural Instinct, then my Dragon Battle Axe. Make sure you have your Salve Amulet, your Undead Slayer, Sigil if you have it, and then a Grimoire if you have that. Grimoire makes a huge difference in this case, because you can go way above the 12k normal crit cap. So start with a Berserk rotation with the Adren pot, throw a Vuln Bomb, and then as soon as your assault is cast, when you go into the destroy and the flurry, you can use your Undead Slayer Sigil. The reason for that is the assault crits above 15k anyway, so the Sigil is kind of wasted for that first 2-3 seconds. In this case, you want to be facing the boss so he runs over to a minion before you start working on the portal. So you see there I waited, cleared him to sub 200k, and then did the portal. Clear as many skeletons out as you can during this. You don't want him to be healing when you're trying to do a personal record attempt. Middle phase here, it's only 100k, so I'm going to be using my CGS. In the CGS, I'm doing a assault, and then I think it's a hurricane. Yep. Reason for that is just because of the double hit of the hurricane, because it's more instant damage. So for short burst stuff, it can be more useful. If you want to, you can also make sure you don't have a target when he's flying back during that bit, so you can barge assault instead. Then you can barge assault destroy, and it will end up being more DPS than the assault hurricane way that I did now. As soon as the second minion is spawned, throw another Vuln Bomb. Do your Berserk rotation again. Your Adren pot's going to be way off cooldown. Oh, sorry, still on cooldown, so you need to be using a Sigil for this. After you've done your assault and your destroy, try to keep your HP high, use basics, build up adren, and pretty much as soon as you can, throw out a CGS. See, the boss is only on 60k life points, and my adren pot comes off cooldown now. Here's the mistake. This was a bit stupid. I end up actually signing, but I was in a part of the rotation where I was only doing basics anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I ended up getting a 205. Now for Ambassador, I'll be using a different approach to the food thing. There is a couple of different ways you can do this. I prefer doing it this way. I know super brews are expensive, and it's honestly kind of a waste for a boss that doesn't require them in that sense. The reason I use them is because I want to be brewing less often, so I don't drain my stats as much, and I also want to pack as much life points as I can, so I'm able to tank some of the special attacks. Again, waiting for my adren pot to come off cooldown. You could do this with a mammoth the same way I did Terraket, and use blubberfish, Guthix rests, and sailfish soups if you want to. That works too. I've done that a couple of times. I tend to think the Titan is more laid back because I enjoy having the Titan spec the spinning fragments during the spin beam phase. But it comes down to personal preference. I'm also not playing a lot of defense. I'm focusing mainly on dealing as much damage as I can here. That's why I prefer the Super Brews over using something like Guthix Rests, or Super Guthix Rests, I guess, if you want to. But that would be cancer because of the adren pot cooldown thing. That would probably be messed up once or twice. But yeah, drop your dummy. Do both your Lunar spells, your Disruption Shield and your Vengeance, to the Dragon Battle Axe spec. Get back up to 100%. Go into the boss fight. Circ rotation with an adren pot. Vuln bomb him, bleed your assault, do a destroy. I choose to do this standing on the north side. I like doing it that way because I have a pattern that I place the smokes in, mostly for habit. As soon as the circ rotation is up, just carry on doing a bunch of basics. Throw a lunge in there if you want to, it's pretty good damage. Then go to the other side of him once the smoke is placed. Do a CGS rotation. And at this point, it gets a little bit tricky, because after the CGS, you want to be doing one destroy, building up to 50%, activating reprisal to time the explosion of the black hole over there. And then after that, you use a limitless sigil to be able to throw an assault out while the reprisal is still going. Couple more hits in, blade a dive away, put on your defender or your shield, rest that mage hit, back in with a hurricane, just for the instant damage since it hits twice, and carry on doing as many hits as you can afterwards before he faces. This was a 666k P1, as you can see. It is possible to do it better than that, but that will suffice for the intent of this video. This is not a personal record for me, but it ended up being a moderately decent melee solo time. So I figured for display purposes that was better, because my own personal records are a little bit more reliant on RNG and some improvisation, which won't be applicable to every kill. During this bit you can Dragon Battle Axe spec, or you can use a Natural Instinct on the second to last fragment. I do neither in this case. It does cost me some DPS, which you'll see at the time at the end, but most of the time it's really tricky to get one of those off, since you already have to budget your adrenaline to be able to kill all the fragments. Or all but one. At this point, your adren pot should be pretty much ready. Do another circ, throw another vuln bomb. Use the pot, bleed your assault, go over to your destroy, and finish this entire circ rotation before you do anything else. He's going to be doing another smoke thing now. So I'm finishing my flurry, doing a bunch of basics, and then bladed diving off. Barge back in. Throw your CGS, carry on DPSing. At this point you want to be keeping your life points reasonably high, because you're going to be tanking that black hole. I will not be using reprisal this time, because I need to adren manage a little bit better for my following berserk. So I just tank that one and out-eat it, really. Stay low life points, you don't need to brew that much during this, because Seiryu is going to come out and heal you when you pass 400k anyway. So 400k is passed, drop the 4th smoke if there is one. If you do everything right, you can end up doing this on 3 smokes, but it doesn't really matter. Then do another Berserk rotation. Ideally you want to get your mutated barge to work there, I didn't do that. So I'm going to have to just one threshold do this with destroy, which is suboptimal. If you do get the barge in, you can bleed one and do another. Throw a flank out if your Berserk is still up during that. And then wait till your CGS is on cooldown, walk underneath him and try to place the CGS spec either underneath him or directly adjacent to him so that it still applies to you even though you're walking around to block the clouds. During this bit, do as much damage as you can. Make sure that you stay above 50% adrenaline always, unless you're extremely used to this fight and know when the special attack's going to happen. Do your devotion. Slap your prayer off really quickly and do a res. Gain back up to full life points. I don't know why I turned my prayer off there, that's a stupid mistake. And as soon as your Berserk is ready, step off the boss, barge him, do another Vuln Bomb, and then an Assault Destroy. Now, ideally, if you were to have a little bit better RNG than I had this time, the boss could die pretty much now, as you can see by the timer turning red. 419 is the best that I've done here so far, and this was not a perfect rotation compared to that time. Same story again, pretty much after that Circ. Throw your CGS out as soon as it becomes ready. Build up your adrenaline, and then just finish the boss fight. That's kind of it. If you do this well, you'll only be having 2 of the onslaughts. If you do it extremely well, you can get away with having 1. I've pretty much only ever done that like twice, and I have a lot of PR attempts at this boss. Obviously, that being a 442, not ideal. 23 seconds slower than the best that I've personally done, and almost a minute slower than the best possible as far as I know. I think the world record right now is 3:45. But that's a way to do it somewhat casually and still get decent kill times.